The morning light crept through the worn curtains of my small apartment, casting long shadows across the walls, lined with military commendations and faded photographs. My name is Catherine Kate Reyes, 53 years old, a retired Army national. Guard veteran who had spent 15 years serving her country, including 2 deployments to Afghanistan. After retiring, I thought I'd found my purpose caring for my family. My son Michael, a rising executive in a tech firm, had always been ambitious. When his wife Sarah passed away from cancer 3 years ago, leaving behind their then 6-year-old daughter Emma, I stepped in without hesitation. Family was everything, or so I believed. The first year was challenging. Michael was grieving, struggling to balance his high-pressure job with single parenthood. I moved into their sprawling suburban home in Phoenix, managing everything from Emma's school schedules to household chores. My military discipline translated perfectly into managing a household. I cooked nutritious meals, maintained a spotless home, and ensured Emma felt loved and supported during her most vulnerable time. My days began before sunrise. Physical therapy sessions from my own service-related injuries would start at 5 a.m., followed by preparing Emma's lunch, ironing Michael's shirts, and ensuring the house ran like a well-oiled military operation. I took pride in my efficiency, in being the backbone of the family when they needed me most. Michael rarely acknowledged my contributions. When he did speak, it was often to critique. "Mom, you didn't fold Emma's dance costume correctly. The kitchen tiles need a deeper clean. Emma's math homework wasn't reviewed thoroughly enough." I absorbed his criticisms, telling myself this was what mothers did. Sacrifice, support, endure. My military pension and savings became a silent resource for the family. When Michael needed a down payment for a new car, I didn't hesitate. When Emma's private school tuition seemed challenging, I quietly transferred funds. My retirement savings dwindled, but I believed I was investing in my family's future. The first signs of strain came subtly. Michael started working longer hours, traveling more frequently. Weekends became rare moments of family time. When he was home, he seemed more distant, more critical. Emma, now 9, began to sense the tension. She would watch our interactions with wide, uncertain eyes. One particularly cold November evening, after I had spent the entire day preparing a special dinner to celebrate Emma's school achievement, Michael walked in late. The carefully prepared meal sat untouched as he began criticizing the presentation, the timing, everything. "Can't you do anything right?" he muttered, not even looking at me. Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Daddy, Grandma worked all day on this." Michael's response was quick and cutting. "She has nothing else to do. This is her job now." Those words should have been my first warning. But I was a soldier, trained to endure, to push through impossible conditions. Family was a mission, and I was determined to complete it. As months passed, my world became smaller. My own health started deteriorating. The old war injuries in my shoulder and knee became more pronounced. Physical therapy became more frequent, more painful. Yet I never complained. I continued managing the household, driving Emma to her activities, preparing meals, handling every minute detail. Michael's expectations grew increasingly unreasonable. He wanted home-cooked meals that met specific dietary requirements, the house maintained at military-level cleanliness, and Emma's academic and extracurricular activities managed with precision. My entire existence became about serving his vision of a perfect household. My own medical appointments were scheduled around Emma's ballet classes and Michael's work commitments. I stopped seeing my own veteran support group, stopped attending physical therapy regularly. My world had narrowed to the 4 walls of Michael's home and the needs of my family. The financial drain was gradual but consistent. My savings account, once robust from years of careful military planning, began to deplete. Emergency funds disappeared into Michael's business investments, Emma's private school tuition, unexpected home repairs. I never questioned, never complained. Emma was my solace during these times. Her resilience, her bright smile in the face of losing her mother, kept me going. She would sit with me in the evenings, showing me her artwork, telling me stories about her school day. In those moments, I felt my sacrifice was worth something. But Michael saw me differently. To him, I was becoming an inconvenience, a burden waiting to happen. He began making subtle comments about future care options, discussing nursing homes with a clinical detachment that made my blood run cold. "Mom," he would say, reviewing brochures during dinner, "we need to start planning ahead. These facilities are excellent. They have medical support, recreational activities. You'll be well taken care of." I would smile, push the thought away. This was my son. This was family. Families took care of each other. At least, that's what I had always believed during my years of military service, where your unit was your family, where no one was left behind. Little did I know that the most significant battle of my life was just beginning. A battle that would test every ounce of resilience I had learned during my years of military service. A battle that would prove that a soldier's spirit never truly retires. The breaking point came on a crisp Tuesday morning in early March. I was preparing Emma's lunch when Michael walked into the kitchen, his face etched with a coldness I had never seen before. He dropped a stack of nursing home brochures on the granite countertop, the sound echoing like a gunshot in the silent kitchen. "We need to talk about your future," he said, his tone clinical and detached. "Your health is declining, and you can't continue living with us indefinitely." Emma looked up from her cereal, sensing the tension. I forced a smile, trying to shield her from the brewing storm. "Everything's fine, sweetheart. Finish your breakfast," Michael continued, his voice rising. "Fine? You can barely climb the stairs without wincing. Your medical bills are becoming a burden. I've been looking into care facilities that can provide round-the-clock support." I gripped the kitchen counter, my knuckles turning white. The same hands that had once carried heavy equipment through treacherous terrains, that had supported fellow soldiers in combat zones, now trembled slightly. "I'm not a burden," I said quietly, my military training kicking in, controlled, measured. But Michael was relentless. "Do you know how much these medical expenses cost? Your medications, your therapy, the additional support you need? Emma's future is at stake." It was then that Emma spoke up, her young voice cutting through the tension. "Daddy, Grandma takes care of me. She's not a burden." Michael's response was swift and cruel. "When you're older, you'll understand. She'll end up in a nursing home, alone. That's the reality." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. I had spent years protecting my country, supporting my family, sacrificing my own needs, and now I was being reduced to a problem to be solved, a burden to be managed. That evening, after Emma was tucked into bed, Michael sat me down for what he called a serious discussion. Spread across the coffee table were financial statements, medical reports, and those damned nursing home brochures. "Look," he said, pointing to a line item, "your medical expenses are unsustainable. Sarah's medical bills nearly broke us, and now your ongoing care is becoming impossible." I listened, my mind drifting to the years of service, the sacrifices I had made, the deployments where I had watched friends fall, where I had carried wounded soldiers to safety. And now, I was being treated like a liability. The next few weeks became a slow descent into emotional torment. Michael began actively discussing nursing homes in front of Emma, making it clear that I was becoming an inconvenience. "Grandma needs special care," he would say, his voice laden with false concern. Emma started becoming distant. I could see the confusion in her eyes, the way she would look at me, part pity, part uncertainty. The bond we had built was being systematically dismantled by her father's calculated narrative. My own health began. The local veteran support group had always been my lifeline. a monthly meeting of fellow soldiers who understood the silent battles we fought long after leaving the battlefield. It was during one of these meetings that I first heard about Sunrise Care Center, a struggling nursing home on the outskirts of Phoenix. Rosa Martinez, a fellow veteran and retired nurse, leaned in during our coffee break. "Catherine, you won't believe what's happening to that facility. It's on the verge of closure. Budget cuts, staff shortages, terrible management." Something inside me stirred. The same instinct that had kept me alive during my deployments, that had guided me through impossible missions, began to take shape. A plan was forming, slow but definite. I started investigating. Quietly, methodically. My military intelligence training hadn't disappeared with my uniform. I discovered that Sunrise Care Center was more than just a struggling facility. It was a potential lifeline for veterans who had been forgotten, discarded, left to waste away in underfunded institutions. The financials were a mess. The current ownership was a distant investment group more interested in profit margins than patient care. Veterans who had given everything to their country were reduced to line items on a spreadsheet. My savings, carefully accumulated over years of military service and frugal living, suddenly had a purpose. I began consulting with financial advisors, legal experts, drawing up intricate plans. The money Michael saw as a burden became my weapon of liberation. It took months of careful planning. I liquidated investments, consulted with veteran support networks, and built a comprehensive strategy. My military background had taught me one crucial lesson. Every mission requires meticulous preparation. The day I walked into the real estate office, the broker looked surprised. A woman in her mid-50s, dressed simply, walking with a slight limp from old war injuries, declaring her intention to purchase a struggling nursing home wasn't an everyday occurrence. "I want to buy Sunrise Care Center," I said, sliding the ATSI financial documents across the desk. The broker's eyes widened. The facility had been on the market for months, with no serious buyers. Its reputation was terrible, its infrastructure crumbling. But I saw something different. I saw potential. I saw a mission. Michael had no idea. Each time he mentioned nursing homes, each time he calculated my worth as a financial burden, I was one step closer to my plan. Emma would occasionally catch me working late at night, surrounded by spreadsheets and legal documents. But she remained silent. My network of veteran contacts became my secret weapon. Rosa introduced me to veterans who had expertise in healthcare administration, facility management, legal compliance. We formed a strategic team, united by a common goal: transforming Sunrise Care Center from a forgotten facility to a beacon of hope for veterans. The purchase wasn't just a financial transaction. It was a statement, a declaration that veterans are not disposable, that our worth extends far beyond our years of service. The transformation of Sunrise Care Center began the moment I took ownership. My first act was to completely overhaul the management, bringing in veterans with healthcare experience, those who understood the unique needs of aging service members. We weren't just running a facility. We were creating a home that honored service and sacrifice. Michael first learned about my purchase during a family dinner. I waited until Emma had finished her homework, until the moment was perfectly calculated. "I've bought a nursing home," I announced, my voice steady and calm. His fork clattered against the plate. "What?" "Sunrise Care Center," I repeated. "It was struggling. I've invested in completely restructuring it." The look of shock on Michael's face was something I would remember for years. His carefully constructed narrative of me as a financial burden was crumbling before his eyes. I watched as confusion, then anger, began to replace his initial disbelief. "You spent your entire savings?" he demanded, his voice rising. I smiled, a smile that reminded him of my military days, sharp and unyielding. "Not just spent, invested." "Theo," facility underwent a complete metamorphosis. We implemented programs specifically designed for veterans, from specialized medical care to mental health support groups. Physical therapy areas were redesigned to accommodate various service-related injuries. We brought in art therapy, music programs, and counseling services that understood the unique challenges faced by aging veterans. Rosa Martinez, with her nursing background, became our lead healthcare coordinator. Together, we created a model of care that was revolutionary. We weren't just treating patients. We were honoring their service, providing dignity, respect, and comprehensive support. Word spread quickly through veteran networks. Within months, Sunrise Care Center became more than just a nursing home. It became a sanctuary. Veterans from various branches from different generations found a place that truly understood them. Michael's attempts to control the narrative began to unravel. He tried calling the facility, attempting to get information about my financial irresponsibility. But our legal team, carefully assembled with veteran lawyers, was prepared for every potential challenge. Emma became my unexpected ally. She would visit the facility, her eyes wide with wonder as she saw the transformed space. "Grandma," she'd say, "this is amazing. You're helping so many people." The financial model we created was sustainable and innovative. We secured grants, developed partnerships with veteran support organizations, and created a self-sustaining ecosystem that provided top-tier care without exploiting residents. But Michael wasn't finished. His next move was more calculated. He began a campaign of subtle manipulation, trying to turn Emma against me. Whispered comments about how I was wasting our family's future, suggestions that I was being reckless. Watched. I waited. The moment of true confrontation came during a family gathering. Michael, unable to contain his frustration, launched into a tirade. "You've lost your mind," he shouted. "Buying a failing nursing home? What were you thinking?" I stood, calm, unwavering. "I was thinking about veterans," I responded. "About people who served, who deserve more than being treated as a burden." Emma, now 10, stood up. "Daddy, stop," she said, her voice surprisingly firm. "Grandma is helping people. That's what you always told me is important." The look on Michael's face was a mixture of shock and defeat. He had underestimated me. He had forgotten that the woman standing before him was not just a mother or a grandmother. She was a soldier, a survivor. My plan was never just about buying a nursing home. It was about reclaiming my dignity. About proving that a woman's worth is not determined by her usefulness to her family, but by her ability to make a difference in the world. As I looked around the facility, filled with veterans finding hope, finding community, I knew I had won more than just a battle against my son's expectations. I had created a legacy. The legal battle began precisely 3 weeks after I took full ownership of Sunrise Care Center. Michael, desperate to prove my incompetence, hired a team of corporate lawyers to challenge my decision. He believed he could dismantle everything I had built, convinced that my investment was nothing more than the misguided action of an aging woman. Our first confrontation played out in a sterile conference room, with rows of attorneys lining both sides of the polished mahogany table. Michael sat at the head, his expensive suit a stark contrast to the determination etched into my face. "Mother," he began, his voice calculated and cold, "you've clearly made a series of financially irresponsible decisions." I listened to his prepared speech, watching how he tried to paint me as an incompetent elderly woman who didn't understand modern business practices. Each word was a calculated attempt to strip away my agency, to reduce me to nothing more than a burden to be managed. Rosa Martinez sat beside me, her own military background evident in the way she sat, straight-backed, unflinching. Our legal team, comprised of veteran lawyers who understood the deeper mission, had prepared meticulously. The financial records told a different story. Sunrise Care Center was no longer a failing institution. Within months of my takeover, we had transformed it into a model of veteran care. We'd secured government grants, developed innovative care programs, and created a sustainable business model that not only broke even, but began to generate surplus funds. Michael's strategy was multi-pronged. He attempted to challenge my mental competency, requesting a medical evaluation that would potentially give him power of attorney. He dug into my medical records, highlighting my service-related injuries, my occasional need for physical therapy, trying to paint a picture of a woman unable to make rational decisions. But what he didn't understand was that my years of military service had prepared me for exactly this kind of warfare. Each challenge was a mission, each legal document a tactical plan. Emma became an unexpected source of strength. During one particularly tense family dinner, she confronted her father directly. "Daddy," she said, her young voice cutting through the tension, "why are you trying to hurt Grandma? She's helping so many people." The look Michael gave his daughter was a mixture of frustration and disbelief. He had not anticipated his own child becoming my ally. Our counterattack was surgical. We documented every improvement at Sunrise Care Center. Veterans who had found hope through our programs began to speak out. Local media picked up the story. A retired veteran who had transformed a failing nursing home into a beacon of hope for fellow service members. One veteran, James Cooper, a Vietnam War survivor, became our most powerful advocate. During a local news interview, he spoke about how Sunrise Care Center had given him a reason to live again. "They didn't just give me a room," he said, his voice breaking. "They gave me back my dignity." The narrative began to shift. What Michael had intended as a public takedown became a celebration of veteran resilience and community support. But Michael was not one to give up easily. His next move was more personal, more insidious. He began a campaign to isolate me from Emma, subtle manipulations designed to create distance between us. "Grandma's making strange choices," he would whisper to Emma. "She's not thinking clearly." I watched these attempts with a calm that surprised even myself. Each of his actions was predictable, each strategy something I had seen countless times during my military career. The turning point came unexpectedly. A national veterans organization learned about our facility's innovative programs. They wanted to use Sunrise Care Center as a model for veteran care facilities across the country. Suddenly, what Michael had seen as a liability became a national asset. Our legal team prepared comprehensive documentation. Every financial record, every improvement, every veteran success story became part of our defense. We were not just fighting a legal battle. We were fighting for the dignity of veterans everywhere. Rosa helped me understand the deeper significance of our fight. "This isn't just about you and Michael," she would say during our strategy meetings. "This is about every veteran who has been told they're no longer valuable." Emma's role became increasingly important. She began spending more time at the facility, learning about the veterans' stories, understanding the depth of service and sacrifice. Michael's attempts to turn her against me were failing spectacularly. The community support was overwhelming. Veterans from across Arizona began to rally around our cause. What Michael had intended as a public humiliation became a powerful movement of support and respect. As the legal battles continued, I found myself reflecting on the journey. From being seen as a burden to becoming a beacon of hope, the transformation was complete. Michael had wanted to put me in a nursing home to minimize my existence. Instead, I had bought the nursing home and created a legacy. The final hearing was a culmination of months of preparation. Michael's legal team presented their case, a carefully constructed narrative of financial mismanagement and mental incompetency. Our response was a comprehensive presentation of Sunrise Care Center's success, backed by financial records, veteran testimonials, and national recognition. When the judge delivered the ruling, it was a complete vindication. Not just of my decision, but of the very principle of veteran dignity. I looked at Michael across the courtroom. The man who had once seen me as nothing more than a financial burden now understood the true meaning of service, of purpose, of dignity. The national recognition of Sunrise Care Center transformed everything. Within months, our facility became a blueprint for veteran care across the United States. Government agencies, veteran support organizations, and healthcare innovators began studying our model, our approach to holistic veteran support. Our programs expanded beyond traditional nursing, home care. We developed comprehensive rehabilitation services, mental health support groups specifically designed for veterans from different generations. Vietnam War veterans sat alongside Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, sharing experiences, finding common ground in their service and struggles. Emma became our most unexpected ambassador. At just 11 years old, she began giving tours of the facility, sharing stories of the veterans she had met. Her natural compassion and understanding touched everyone who visited. Michael watched from the sidelines, his attempts to maintain control slowly eroding. The financial success was just one aspect of our transformation. We had created more than a business. We had built a community. Veterans who had felt forgotten found purpose again. Some became mentors, others developed art programs, wrote memoirs, or taught skills to younger veterans struggling with transition. James Cooper, the Vietnam veteran who had first spoken out about our facility, developed a photography program. Veterans who had never considered themselves creative discovered a new way of expressing their experiences. Their photographs began to be exhibited in local galleries, telling stories of service, sacrifice, and resilience. Michael's legal challenges continued, but they became increasingly desperate and ineffective. Each attempt to discredit me only highlighted the success of Sunrise Care Center. Local media began featuring our stories. National publications wrote articles about our innovative approach to veteran care. Rosa Martinez expanded our healthcare model, bringing in specialized therapists who understood the unique physical and mental challenges faced by veterans. We weren't just treating symptoms. We were addressing the holistic needs of those who had served. The facility became a living museum of service, walls decorated with military memorabilia, story corners where veterans could share their experiences, rehabilitation areas that understood the specific needs of those with service-related injuries. We created a space that honored service while providing cutting-edge care. Emma's influence grew. She began raising awareness about veteran issues among her peers, speaking at school events, sharing the stories she had learned. Michael watched, increasingly marginalized, as his daughter became a voice for veteran support. Our financial model became revolutionary. We secured additional funding through innovative grants, partnerships with technology companies that wanted to support veteran care. Rehabilitation programs integrated cutting-edge technologies, providing veterans with opportunities to learn new skills, to stay connected with the world. The psychological support was perhaps our most significant achievement. We brought in counselors specializing in veteran mental health, creating support groups that addressed everything from PTSD to the challenges of aging after military service. Veterans who had felt isolated found community, found understanding. Michael's attempts to challenge my guardianship became increasingly futile. The court had not only validated my decision, but had recognized the significant impact of Sunrise Care Center. His narrative of me as an incompetent, burdensome mother had been completely dismantled. Our success attracted national attention. The Department of Veterans Affairs began studying our model, considering how our approach could be implemented in facilities across the country. We weren't just a nursing home. We had become a national resource for veteran care. Emma's involvement became even more profound. She began a scholarship program for children of veterans, using some of the facility's surplus funds. Her understanding of service and sacrifice, learned from the veterans at Sunrise Care Center, was transforming her into a compassionate advocate. The veterans became my family in a way my biological family never had been. Each story of recovery, each moment of renewed purpose, was a testament to the power of true care and respect. We celebrated birthdays, marked military anniversaries, created a community that understood the meaning of service. Michael's influence continued to diminish. His attempts to maintain control became increasingly desperate. He tried to manipulate Emma, to create distance between us, but she had developed a deep understanding of true family, not through blood, but through support and respect. Our facility became a model of what veteran care could be. We integrated technology, provided comprehensive medical support, created opportunities for continued learning and growth. Veterans who had been told they were at the end of their useful lives found new purpose, new meaning. The legal battles continued, but they became background noise to the significant work we were doing. Each challenge only highlighted the importance of our mission, the depth of our commitment to veteran care. Emma began documenting our stories, creating a digital archive of veteran experiences. Her young perspective brought a fresh, compassionate approach to sharing these important narratives. Michael watched, increasingly isolated, as his daughter became a powerful voice for veteran support. As I looked around the facility, at the community we had built, I realized we had done more than create a nursing home. We had created a home, a place of dignity, of purpose, of continued service. The woman Michael had once seen as a burden had become a beacon of hope for hundreds of veterans. The journey had never been about winning against my son. It had always been about proving the value of service, the importance of dignity, the power of community. Sunrise Care Center was more than a facility. It was a testament to the resilience of those who had served. The national recognition of Sunrise Care Center brought unexpected challenges and opportunities. Congressional committees began taking interest in our revolutionary approach to veteran care. We were no longer just a local facility. We had become a national model of what compassionate, comprehensive veteran support could look like. A pivotal moment came during a Senate hearing on veteran health care. I found myself seated before a panel of lawmakers, explaining our holistic approach. Emma sat in the audience, her presence a powerful reminder of the generational impact of our work. Michael watched from the back of the room, his influence diminishing with each passing moment. Our financial model became a case study for innovative nonprofit management. We had transformed a failing nursing home into a self-sustaining ecosystem of care, support, and empowerment. Technology companies began reaching out, wanting to understand how we had created such a successful integrated care model. James Cooper's photography program expanded beyond our facility. A traveling exhibition began touring veteran centers across the country, telling stories of service, resilience, and hope. Each photograph was a testament to the human spirit, capturing moments of vulnerability and strength that most people never saw. Emma's involvement became increasingly sophisticated. At just 12 years old, she began developing a digital platform to connect veterans, create support networks, and share resources. Her understanding of technology, combined with her deep empathy, created something truly revolutionary. The legal battles with Michael continued, but they had become almost background noise to the significant work we were doing. Each challenge only served to highlight the importance of our mission, the depth of our commitment to veteran care. Rosa Martinez expanded our medical research programs. We began collaborating with leading universities to study the long-term impacts of military service, developing new approaches to treating service-related injuries and mental health challenges. Our facility was no longer just a care center. It was a hub of innovation and support. Michael's attempts to maintain control became increasingly desperate. He tried multiple legal strategies, attempted to challenge my mental competency, sought to prove financial mismanagement. Each attempt failed more spectacularly than the last. Our veteran support programs grew in complexity and reach. We developed specialized programs for veterans from different conflicts, understanding that each generation of service members faced unique challenges. Vietnam War veterans worked alongside Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, creating intergenerational support networks that transcended traditional care models. The technology integration became one of our most significant innovations. We developed custom rehabilitation technologies, created virtual reality programs to help veterans process trauma, and built communication platforms that kept isolated veterans connected with their communities. Emma's digital platform became a lifeline for many. Veterans from across the country began using the system to connect, share resources, and support each other. What had started as a young girl's passion project became a national resource for veteran support. Our financial model attracted international attention. Nonprofit organizations from around the world began studying how we had created a self-sustaining care facility that went beyond traditional healthcare models. We were proving that compassionate care could also be financially viable. The psychological support programs became our most significant achievement. We brought in specialists who understood the unique mental health challenges faced by veterans. Our approach was holistic, addressing not just medical needs, but emotional, social, and spiritual well-being. Michael's professional life began to unravel. His attempts to discredit me had drawn unwanted attention to his own business practices. The very media he had hoped would support his narrative now scrutinized his every move. Congressional support grew. Lawmakers began proposing legislation inspired by our care model. We had become more than a facility. We were a blueprint for national veteran support. Emma found herself invited to speak at youth leadership conferences, sharing the story of how compassion and innovation could transform veteran care. The personal transformation was perhaps most profound. Veterans who had felt forgotten found new purpose. Some became mentors. Others developed artistic programs, wrote memoirs, or taught skills to younger veterans struggling with transition. Our rehabilitation programs integrated cutting-edge technologies with deeply human approaches. We weren't just treating veterans. We were celebrating their service, acknowledging their sacrifices, providing pathways to continued meaningful engagement. The National Veterans Organization that had initially recognized our work now held us up as a national standard. Our model was being studied for potential implementation in facilities across the country. What Michael had seen as a liability had become a national asset. Emma's involvement reached new heights. She began developing artificial intelligence solutions to improve veteran support services, working with technology experts to create more responsive, personalized care systems. Her understanding of veteran needs, combined with technological innovation, was creating something truly revolutionary. As the years passed, Sunrise Care Center became more than a facility. It was a movement, a testament to the power of respect, compassion, and innovative thinking. The woman Michael had once seen as a burden had become a national leader in veteran support. The journey had never been about defeating my son. It had always been about proving the value of service, the importance of dignity, the power of community. Sunrise Care Center was a living, breathing example of what true care could look like, a place where veterans were not just supported, but celebrated. My final victory was not in any courtroom or legal document. It was in the eyes of the veterans who found hope, purpose, and community within our walls. In Emma's continued commitment to veteran support, in the knowledge that we had created something far greater than a nursing home. We had created a legacy of respect, compassion, and unwavering support. The turning point came unexpectedly on a crisp autumn morning. A national documentary crew arrived to film a feature about Sunrise Care Center, capturing the essence of our revolutionary veteran support model. Emma, now 15, had become an integral part of our operations, her technological innovations, drawing national attention. Michael's final attempt to challenge our work came through a complex legal maneuver, attempting to prove financial impropriety. But the evidence was overwhelming. Our financial transparency, our documented impact, and the countless lives we had transformed stood as an impenetrable fortress against his claims. During the documentary filming, veterans from various conflicts shared their stories. Vietnam War. Veterans sat alongside Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, their experiences weaving a tapestry of service and resilience. James Cooper, who had become a mentor to many, spoke about how Sunrise Care Center had given him a second purpose in life. "It's not just about care," James said, his weathered hands gesturing passionately. "It's about dignity, about showing that our service doesn't end when we take off the uniform." The technological innovations became our most significant breakthrough. Emma had developed an AI-powered support system that could predict and address veterans' unique health and emotional needs. Major tech companies began showing interest in our approach, seeing the potential for broader applications. Our research partnerships expanded. Leading universities approached us to study our holistic care model, our approach to veteran mental health and rehabilitation. We were no longer just a care facility. We had become a think tank for veteran support. Michael's professional reputation began to crumble. His attempts to discredit our work had drawn unwanted scrutiny to his own business practices. The very media he had hoped would support his narrative now investigated his background, his treatment of employees, his business ethics. Rosa Martinez continued to expand our medical research programs. We developed groundbreaking approaches to treating service-related injuries, creating rehabilitation protocols that were being adopted by medical facilities nationwide. Our work was changing the landscape of veteran care. The congressional support reached new heights. Lawmakers began proposing legislation directly inspired by our care model. Emma found herself invited to speak at technology conferences, sharing how innovative thinking could transform support for veterans. Our facility had become a living museum of service. Walls decorated with military memorabilia told stories of courage, sacrifice, and resilience. We created interactive exhibits that allowed younger generations to understand the depth of veteran experiences. The psychological support programs became our most significant achievement. We brought in specialists who understood the unique mental health challenges faced by veterans from different conflicts. Our approach addressed not just medical needs, but emotional, social, and spiritual well-being. Emma's digital platform evolved into a comprehensive veteran support network. It connected veterans across generations, provided mental health resources, job support, and community building. What had started as a young girl's passion project had become a national resource. Our financial model attracted international attention. Nonprofit organizations from around the world began studying how we had created a self-sustaining care facility that went beyond traditional healthcare models. We proved that compassionate care could also be financially viable. The veterans became our family in the truest sense. We celebrated birthdays, marked military anniversaries, created a community that understood the meaning of service. Each story of recovery was a testament to the power of true care and respect. Congressional hearings began to feature our work as a model for national veteran support. Emma found herself testifying alongside veteran advocacy groups, her young voice bringing a fresh perspective to long-standing challenges. Michael's attempts to maintain relevance became increasingly desperate. His business began to falter, his professional network shrinking as our national recognition grew. The man, who had once tried to reduce me to a burden, now watched as we transformed the landscape of veteran care. Our rehabilitation programs integrated cutting-edge technologies with deeply human approaches. Virtual reality systems helped veterans process trauma. Advanced prosthetics gave new mobility to those with service-related injuries. We weren't just treating veterans. We were celebrating their service, acknowledging their sacrifices. The National Veterans Organization that had initially recognized our work now held us up as the gold standard. Facilities across the country began adopting our care model, Our approach to holistic veteran support. Emma's technological innovations continued to push boundaries. She developed predictive health technologies specifically designed for veterans, creating systems that could anticipate and address unique health challenges faced by those who had served. As the years passed, Sunrise Care Center became more than a facility. It was a movement, a testament to the power of respect, compassion, and innovative thinking. The woman Michael had once seen as a burden had become a national leader in veteran support. Our final victory was not in any courtroom or legal document. It was in the eyes of the veterans who found hope, purpose, and community within our walls. In Emma's continued commitment to veteran support, in the knowledge that we had created something far greater than a nursing home, we had created a legacy of respect, compassion, and unwavering support. The documentary crew captured more than just our facility. They captured a revolution in veteran care, a story of how one woman's determination could transform the lives. The International Veterans Care Summit became a pivotal moment in our journey. Delegates from 37 countries converged to study the Sunrise Care Center model, our approach to holistic veteran support drawing unprecedented global attention. Emma, now 16, stood alongside me as we presented our innovative care strategies, her technological insights complementing my decades of service experience. Our presentation detailed more than just a care facility. We unveiled a comprehensive ecosystem of veteran support that integrated medical care, psychological support, technological innovation, and community building. The room fell silent as we shared stories of veterans who had found renewed purpose, who had transformed their lives through our programs. Michael's attempts to undermine our work had long since become irrelevant. His business had collapsed, his professional reputation in tatters. The man who had once tried to reduce me to a financial burden now watched from the periphery as we received standing ovations from international healthcare leaders. Rosa Martinez had developed groundbreaking research on veteran mental health, our facility becoming a global center for understanding the long-term impacts of military service. We weren't just treating symptoms. We were redefining how the world understood veteran care. The technological innovations continued to astound. Emma's AI-powered support system had evolved into a global platform. Veterans from different countries could now connect, share resources, and support each other across continental boundaries. What had started as a personal project had become a global network of veteran support. Congressional support reached unprecedented levels. Lawmakers from both parties began citing Sunrise Care Center as a model for national veteran support. Our approach had transcended political divisions, becoming a testament to the power of compassionate, innovative care. James Cooper's photography program had become an international exhibition. Veterans' stories were now displayed in galleries. Across the world, a visual narrative of service, sacrifice, and resilience. Each photograph told a story of human endurance, of finding hope in the most challenging circumstances. Our research partnerships expanded exponentially. Leading universities from around the world sought to collaborate, studying our holistic approach to veteran care. Medical journals published our findings, our approach to veteran support becoming a blueprint for global healthcare innovation. The psychological support programs we had developed became a field of study in their own right. We had created a comprehensive approach that addressed the unique challenges faced by veterans from different conflicts, different generations, different cultural backgrounds. Emma's technological innovations continued to push boundaries. She developed predictive health technologies that could be adapted to veteran-specific needs across different healthcare systems. Major technology companies began seeking her insights, recognizing the revolutionary potential of her work. The facility had transformed from a local nursing home to a global center of excellence. Veterans from around the world now sought out our programs, our approach to care, becoming a beacon of hope for those who had served their countries. Our financial model became a case study in sustainable nonprofit management. We had proven that compassionate care could be financially viable. that supporting veterans could be both a moral imperative and a sustainable business model. The documentary that had initially brought national attention now had international versions. Our story had become a global narrative of hope, of transformation, of the power of seeing veterans as more than their service, more than their injuries. Congressional hearings now featured our work as a global model for veteran support. Emma found herself speaking alongside international policymakers, her young voice bringing a fresh perspective to long-standing challenges in veteran care. The rehabilitation programs we had developed became a global standard. Virtual reality systems, advanced prosthetics, comprehensive mental health support. We had created a holistic approach that addressed every aspect of a veteran's well-being. Our walls were no longer just decorated with military memorabilia. They now told a global story of service, of resilience, of the universal experience of those who had served their countries. The National Veterans Organization that had initially recognized our work now worked with international counterparts to spread our care model. Facilities around the world began adopting our approach, our philosophy of comprehensive, compassionate support. Emma's continued innovations continued to astound. She developed technologies that could predict and address veteran health challenges across different healthcare systems, her work bridging technological innovation with deep human understanding. As the years passed, Sunrise Care Center became more than a facility. It was a global movement. A testament to the power of respect, compassion, and innovative thinking. The woman Michael had once seen as a burden had become a global leader in veteran support. Our final victory was not in any single achievement. It was in the collective, stories of veterans who had found hope, purpose, and community. In Emma's continued commitment to veteran support. In the knowledge that we had created something far greater than a nursing home. We had created a global legacy of respect, compassion, and unwavering support. The International Veterans Care Summit became more than a conference. It became a declaration. A statement that veterans are not defined by their service or their injuries, but by their resilience, their continued potential, their humanity. As I looked out over the international delegates, as Emma stood beside me, presenting our latest innovations, I realized we had done more than transform a nursing home. We had transformed how the world saw veterans. We had given them back their dignity, their purpose, their hope. The unexpected reunion came on a crisp, winter morning, 5 years after our global transformation of veteran care. Emma, now a renowned technology innovator, stood beside me as we prepared for a White House ceremony honoring our life's work. The invitation had come directly from the president, a recognition of our revolutionary approach to veteran support. Michael's presence was the last thing I expected. He appeared at the ceremony, a shadow of his former self. Years of professional struggles and personal failures had etched lines of defeat into his face. Emma noticed him first, her keen eyes scanning the room with the same military precision I had cultivated throughout my years of service. The ceremony was a culmination of everything we had built. Representatives from veteran organizations, international, healthcare leaders, and technology innovators filled the grand hall. Our journey from a struggling nursing home to a global model of veteran care had been nothing short of miraculous. Rosa Martinez stood nearby, her own contributions to veteran healthcare research now internationally recognized. The research programs we had developed had transformed understanding of veteran mental health, physical rehabilitation, and long-term care. James Cooper, the Vietnam War veteran who had become our most powerful advocate, sat in the front row. His photography exhibition, which had now toured multiple continents, had become a powerful testament to veteran experiences. Each photograph told a story of resilience, of survival, of hope. The Presidential Medal of Honor we were to receive was more than a personal achievement. It represented a fundamental shift in how society viewed veterans. We had proven that care was not about managing aging service members, but about celebrating their continued potential. their ongoing contributions to society. Emma's technological innovations took center stage. Her AI-powered veteran support platform had become a global network, connecting veterans across generations, providing mental health resources, job support, and community building. Major technology companies now sought her insights, recognizing the revolutionary potential of her work. Michael attempted to approach us during a break in the ceremony. His stance was hesitant, his confidence long since eroded by the consequences of his previous actions. Emma intercepted him, her posture a perfect blend of professional courtesy and unmistakable boundary setting. "Mr. Reyes," she said, her voice calm and measured. "I believe you wanted to speak with my grandmother?" The irony was not lost on me. The daughter he had once tried to manipulate now stood as a powerful gatekeeper, her success a direct result of the support and opportunities we had created. Our global impact extended far beyond the walls of Sunrise Care Center. We had developed comprehensive care models that were now being implemented in veteran facilities around the world. Our approach had transformed from a local initiative to an international standard of veteran support. The research, partnerships we had developed continued to push boundaries. Leading universities from multiple countries collaborated on our veteran care models, studying the holistic approach we had pioneered. Medical journals regularly published our findings, our methodology becoming a blueprint for comprehensive veteran support. Congressional support had transformed into international policy recommendations. Lawmakers from multiple countries now cited our work as a model for veteran care, our approach transcending political and cultural boundaries. Michael's attempt to speak was cut short. A veteran from our facility, a double amputee who had found new purpose through our rehabilitation programs, stepped forward. His presence was a silent but powerful statement of the work we had accomplished. The psychological support programs we had developed had become a field of study in their own right. We had created a comprehensive approach that addressed the unique challenges faced by veterans from different conflicts, different generations, different cultural backgrounds. Emma's continued innovations continued to astound global healthcare and technology communities. She had developed predictive health technologies that could be adapted to veterans' specific needs across different healthcare systems, bridging technological innovation with deep human understanding. As the ceremony progressed, I reflected on our journey. The woman Michael had once seen as a burden had become a global leader in veteran support. Our work had transformed from a local nursing home initiative to a worldwide movement of compassion, innovation, and respect. The Presidential Medal of Honor was more than a personal achievement. It was a recognition of every veteran who had found hope through our programs, every life transformed, every story of resilience celebrated. Michael watched from the periphery, a silent witness to a transformation he could never have imagined. The man who had once tried to reduce me to a financial burden now saw the global impact of the work we had created. Emma's speech was the culmination of our journey. She spoke not just about technological innovation, but about the human spirit, about the potential that exists in every veteran, in every person who has served their country. As the ceremony concluded, as applause filled the grand hall, I realized our true victory was not in the medals, not in the global recognition. It was in the lives we had transformed, in the hope we had created, in the dignity we had restored to countless veterans. Michael approached one last time, his voice barely a whisper. "I never understood," he said. Emma's response was swift and final. "Some lessons take a lifetime to learn." The years following the White House ceremony brought unexpected challenges and profound transformations. Sunrise Care Center had become more than an institution. It was a living, breathing testament to the resilience of veterans. Our global impact continued to expand, touching lives in ways we could never have imagined. Emma's technological innovations reached new heights. Her artificial intelligence platform for veteran support had become a global network, connecting veterans across continents, providing resources, mental health support, and community building. Major technology companies now sought her insights, recognizing the revolutionary potential of her work. Rosa Martinez had developed groundbreaking research that went beyond traditional medical understanding. Our facility became a global center for studying the long-term impacts of military service, exploring the intricate connections between physical health, mental well-being, and social support. The international recognition brought both opportunities and challenges. We began receiving requests from countries around the world to help develop similar veteran support models. Our approach had transformed from a local initiative to an international blueprint for comprehensive veteran care. Michael's continued attempts to reconnect remained fraught with tension. His professional life had never recovered from the fallout of his previous actions. The man who had once tried to control and minimize my existence now lived on the margins, a stark reminder of the consequences of his earlier choices. Our rehabilitation programs continued to push technological boundaries. Virtual reality systems helped veterans process trauma, advanced prosthetics provided new mobility, and comprehensive mental health support addressed the holistic needs of those who had served. James Cooper's photography project expanded into a global documentary initiative. Veterans from different conflicts, different countries shared their stories through visual narratives. Each photograph, each story became a powerful testament to the universal experience of service and resilience. Congressional support transformed into international policy recommendations. Lawmakers from multiple countries began citing our work as a model for veteran care, our approach transcending political and cultural boundaries. We had created a universal language of support and dignity. The psychological support programs we had developed became a comprehensive field of study. Universities around the world began offering specialized courses based on our holistic approach to veteran care. We had redefined how society understood the needs of those who had served. Emma's continued innovations continued to astound global healthcare and technology communities. She developed predictive health technologies that could be adapted to veterans' specific needs across different healthcare systems. Her work bridged technological innovation with deep human understanding. Our financial model became a global case study in sustainable nonprofit management. We had proven that compassionate care could be financially viable, that supporting veterans could be both a moral imperative and a sustainable approach to healthcare. The most profound transformation came from the veterans themselves. Our facility was no longer just a care center. It was a community, a place of continued growth, learning, and purpose. Veterans who had once felt discarded found new meaning, new opportunities. International collaborations brought unexpected breakthroughs. We developed exchange programs that allowed veterans from different countries to share experiences, to learn from each other's journeys of recovery and resilience. Our facility became a global hub of veteran support. Michael's attempts to reconnect remained complicated. He would occasionally reach out, his messages a mixture of regret and desperation. But the damage he had done could not be easily repaired. Emma, now a powerful force in her own right, managed these interactions with a combination of professional courtesy and unmistakable boundary setting. The documentary that had initially brought national attention now had international versions. Our story had become a global narrative of hope, of transformation, of the power of seeing veterans as more than their service, more than their injuries. Research partnerships expanded exponentially. Leading universities from around the world sought to collaborate, studying our holistic approach to veteran care. Medical journals regularly published our findings, our methodology becoming a blueprint for comprehensive veteran support. Emma's technological platform continued to evolve. It was no longer just a support network. It had become a comprehensive ecosystem of veteran support. Job placement services, mental health resources, educational opportunities, community building, all integrated into a single powerful platform. The walls of Sunrise Care Center told a global story. No longer just decorated with military memorabilia, they now represented a universal narrative of service, of resilience, of the human capacity to overcome and thrive. Our approach to veteran care had fundamentally changed how society viewed service members. We had proven that veterans were not defined by their injuries or their past, but by their continued potential, their ability to grow, to contribute, to find new purpose. The most unexpected development came from an international collaboration. We began developing specialized care programs for veterans from conflict zones around the world. Our approach transcended national boundaries, providing support to those who had served in various global contexts. Emma's work with artificial intelligence reached new heights. She developed predictive technologies that could anticipate and address veteran health challenges across different healthcare systems. Her innovations were not just technological, they were deeply human. Michael remained a peripheral figure in our lives. Occasionally, he would attempt to reconnect, to understand the transformation we had created. But the gulf between us had become too wide, too deep to easily bridge. As the years passed, Sunrise Care Center became more than a facility. It was a global movement, a testament to the power of respect, compassion, and innovative thinking. The woman Michael had once seen as a burden had become a global leader in veteran support. Our final victory was not in any single achievement. It was in the collective stories of veterans who had found hope, purpose, and community. In Emma's continued commitment to veteran support. In the knowledge that we had created something far greater than a nursing home, we had created a global legacy of respect, compassion, and unwavering support. The international recognition continued to grow. Awards, honorary degrees, global speaking engagements, these were now a regular part of our lives. But they were never the focus. The true measure of our success was in the lives transformed, in the veterans who found new purpose, new hope as I reflected on our journey, on the transformation from a struggling nursing home to a global center of veteran support. I realized we had done more than create an institution. We had created a movement, a fundamental reimagining of how society views and supports those who have served. Emma stood beside me, a powerful testament to the potential that exists when we approach care with compassion, innovation, and unwavering respect. The legacy we had built was not just about veteran support, it was about human dignity. The final chapter of our journey began on a quiet morning in Santa Barbara, where Sunrise Care Center had established its global headquarters. Emma, now a renowned technology innovator and veteran support advocate, sat beside me as we prepared for what would be our most significant project yet, a comprehensive global veteran support initiative that would redefine care on an international scale. Our work had long since transcended the initial conflict with Michael. We had created a global movement that touched the lives of veterans from every corner of the world. The facility that Michael had once seen as a burden had become a beacon of hope, a testament to the resilience of those who had served. The United Nations had invited us to present our comprehensive veteran support model. Delegates from over 50 countries gathered to hear our approach, a holistic strategy that addressed the physical, mental, emotional, and social needs of veterans across generations and conflicts. Rosa Martinez, who had been with us from the beginning, had developed groundbreaking research that fundamentally changed how the world understood veteran care. Our approach was no longer just a healthcare model. It was a comprehensive social innovation that recognized the full humanity of those who had served. James Cooper, the Vietnam War veteran whose photography had become a global narrative of veteran experiences, stood as a living testament to our work. His images had been displayed in museums, galleries, and international forums, telling stories of resilience, sacrifice, and hope. Emma's technological innovations had transformed the landscape of veteran support. Her AI-powered platform now connected veterans across the globe, providing resources, mental health support, job placement, educational opportunities, and community building. Major technology companies and international organizations sought her insights, recognizing the revolutionary potential of her work. Michael had become a distant memory, a footnote in our larger story. His attempts to reconnect had been minimal, his influence completely overshadowed by the global impact we had created. The man who had once tried to reduce me to a financial burden now lived on the periphery of our remarkable journey. Our international collaborations had brought unprecedented breakthroughs. We had developed specialized support programs for veterans from conflict zones around the world, transcending national boundaries, providing comprehensive support that addressed the unique challenges faced by service members across different cultural and geographical contexts. The psychological support programs we had developed had become a comprehensive field of study. Universities around the world now offered specialized courses based on our holistic approach to veteran care. We had fundamentally redefined how society understood the needs of those who had served. The financial model we had created became a global case study in sustainable nonprofit management. We had proven that compassionate care could be both financially viable and transformative, that supporting veterans was not just a moral imperative, but a pathway to social innovation. As I stood before the United Nations delegates presenting our comprehensive veteran support model, I reflected on the journey that had brought us here. The woman Michael had once seen as a burden was now addressing world leaders, sharing a vision of veteran support that was both deeply personal and globally transformative. Emma's presentation was a masterpiece of technological innovation and human compassion. She demonstrated how artificial intelligence could be used to predict and address veteran health challenges, how technology could be a powerful tool for connection, support, and empowerment. The most profound moment came during the Q&A session. A veteran from a war-torn country asked about hope, about finding purpose after experiencing unimaginable trauma. Emma's response was a powerful testament to our work, a demonstration of how support, innovation, and compassion could transform lives. Our global network had become more than a support system. It was a movement, a fundamental reimagining of how society views and supports those who have served. Veterans were no longer seen as victims or burdens, but as resilient, valuable members of society with continued potential for growth and contribution. The international recognition continued to grow. Awards, honorary degrees, global speaking, engagements. These had become a regular part of our lives, but they were never the focus. The true measure of our success was in the lives transformed, in the veterans who found new purpose, new hope. As the presentation concluded, as applause filled the grand hall, I realized our journey had been about more than veteran support. It had been about human dignity, about the power of seeing potential where others saw limitation, about the transformative power of compassion and innovation. Emma stood beside me, a powerful testament to the potential that exists when we approach care with empathy, creativity, and unwavering respect. The legacy we had built was not just about veteran support. It was about reimagining human potential. In the years since that initial confrontation with Michael, we had created something far greater than a nursing home. We had created a global movement of support, of hope, of possibility. To our listeners, to those who have followed our journey, this is more than just a story. It's an invitation to see beyond limitations, to recognize the potential in every person, to understand that true support is about empowerment, about dignity, about hope. If our story has touched you, if it has inspired you, we invite you to join our movement. Subscribe to our channel, follow our journey, share our story. Because every veteran deserves support. Every person deserves dignity. This is Catherine Reyes, and this is the story of how we transformed a nursing home into a global beacon of hope. Subscribe now. Be part of the change.